So welcome to this, a time just as an overview of this 3-month course coming up called Deeper Relationships. And so as we come together, I'm just going to declare that we are in the space of sacred sovereignty together, that we all come from in to that place, intentionally being here to be balanced, to be self-responsible, grateful to be in a tribe that understands authenticity, learning, gathering with those in the unseen who have been guiding us for our whole life, whether we know that or not. Excited to participate in what might be the next step for ourselves or those that we care about in how relationships factor into life. So I give great gratitude for Gaia for allowing us to play out our dramas, our mission on her surface, committed to partnering with her in ways that has rarely been done consistently, to not only honor and preserve her space, but also be a partner in her in restoring her space back to the divinity it is. Gathering with the triad of Gaia, Sophia, and Grace, it is with those three holding our feet, our hands, and our hearts that we're able to bring our light, our wisdom, our curiosity out into the world to be seen not only safely, but powerfully impacting and inspiring. I'm really grateful to be here with you guys. And with that, our space is set, anchored, and we are here held in the hands of the divine and the magnificence of life. And so it is. So welcome. So we're just going to jump right in. Okay. And I'll start by talking just a little bit about how this particular course came to be. When I first started doing tag work in '87, I worked with individuals who kept running into blocks, fear, anxiety, mostly mental, not so much mental, but more like the emotional blocks of why I couldn't move forward. I was not working with anyone who I would say in that mental illness realm, and I was not working with anyone with physical disease, not at all. But very impactful, giving them tools that they could just keep applying and moving their. I said, you're on a train, that's your mission, and you want to go 200 miles an hour. Because I was working with people, I call them leaders, which is who I think I've worked with all these years. You don't want to just puddle along. You want to go down that track 200 miles an hour and get things done quickly. But what is happening is you don't have enough awareness or tools to understand that the blocks that are in your way are going to come up even bigger because you want to go so fast, because you want to be the light. And what the tag does, it brings in processes that can keep clearing your track, so that you don't have to sit and wait or feel like you're going backwards, that you just keep moving forward. So some of the people I've worked with years and years and years ago wander back into my life, and this is not uncommon, and say, my word, you did a session on me in 1994 and my life changed forever. That happens more when we're working with someone who isn't stuck in physical disease, or who isn't dealing with pathological or mental components, And so this program is really designed for those who are in difficult relationships of some kind. And I'm not going to say pathological relationships. Pathological relationships are those relationships with the other where the other is probably quite damaged. And so their neuron connections are strange. and they might be called narcissists or, have those kind of terms. Not that this program won't be helpful, absolutely will. So it doesn't matter the level of difficulty, it is for relationships. And then I really realized that life is all about relationships. So it's not even about only those who are in relationships with another person, So there might be those who are in relationship with another person. And this is how I saw it when I was first doing the work. So usually it would be the woman who would come to me. And I would ask my team, I don't know this person from Adam, don't even, because I didn't know these people coming. So I would first of all say, what level of density is this woman carrying? And this isn't birth density. I didn't know about that. So they might say 900 pounds. We use numbers to make energy visible, one of the ways. 900 pounds. Okay. And if she is in a relationship with another husband or boyfriend, usually there'd be some angst about that. So I would say, and what's the amount of density with the person, the other person, usually male, not necessarily. And it would be like, not 900, it'd probably be more like 1,000 or 1,100. It would usually be a little bit higher, and it would be within a similar range. When I finished with a session, I would then say to my team, what is the amount of density that this person is walking out with? In other words, how much were we able to remove in this basic session? So they might say, well, she came in at 900, she's walking out at 700 or 600. That's how much energy density could be changed. Well, I knew that her partner at 1,100 coming up against this person coming into the home or relationship at 600, there is going to be some angst, you see? And so that's why we always include the other and have the other's team start working, just indirectly, indirectly. No, and what would happen is the partner would be less anxious, and then pretty soon that 1,100 just over, it might be a week, it might be a month, it might be, whatever the partner's time took, it would come down pretty soon at about 900 points. That partner would say something like, what was that book you wanted me to read? It would be like the scales that refused the partner from seeing or hearing or thinking or considering just melted away. So this course is also for those who are in relationships with just another person who isn't willing to take hold, isn't willing to be self-responsible, but isn't as extremely pathological as others might be. So level of difficulty. And then there might be that it might not be a person. The relationship may be with your career, your environment in your career. That's a relationship. And there's messages for you in that relationship that this course can help you get, that can change how that relationship comes together over time. Or it might be a relationship with disease, or it might be relationship with old memories, or it might be relationship with some other kind of situation in your life. So it's all about relationships that are difficult at some level of difficulty. Okay. So this is how we have set it up. First of all, it's a 3-month program, and we will meet weekly. There are 2 components of the program. There are those that I call participants. And the participants are those that say, I want to learn some things to disengage myself in this type of relationship, or to be change, how the relationship is for me. They're going to participate, and they're going to be learning skills, applying skills at themselves. They're going to stay in their own lane. The other component is just like we did Deep Roots, the Deep Roots program. We had a component that was comprised of tag facilitators. So this is a tag 3 facilitator course, just like Deep Roots was. The participants will be learning, applying tag processes and really deep and learning more. I mean, there are some that are coming together we have never had to use before because new things are possible. This is going to be very deep healing. Stay in your own lane. Love, send blessings to the other, but don't worry about that. This is your responsibility, learning new skills. And also, in addition to learning new skills about what needs to be healed, what needs to be strengthened, we're also open up the possibility that is there some skills that the group wants to learn? Do you want to learn a little bit more about business? Because you've got to be self-sustaining, and some aren't yet. Do you need to know a little bit about XYZ? So we can also bring in guest presenters in that course, in that part of the course. When we bring in guest presenters, we will invite all of the tag students who've ever been tag students. And we will also invite all those who are still in Deep Roots. So that would be a larger group for guest speakers. And that's a possibility. That's if the class wants it. Okay. So that's participants. Now, the other is a person, a situation, an old memory, a disease. The tag facilitators will be using deep healing processes directed at those individuals just in long distance sessions. It's not a participatory like in Deep Roots. The tag facilitator worked on the peeps, right? Anonymously. You never knew who you worked on, but you gave your peeps a reality statement they could anchor, right? In this case, the other will not get a reality statement. The work will be done, period. The work will be done, period. The work will be done, period. Okay, so that the healing possibility on the other, whatever the other is just long distance, long distance, long distance. Intuitive on the other, where the participants will have specific things that we'll be applying protocols and processes. Some that I know already we're going to be using, some new ones that may come up as we go along, as well as the opportunity to have conversations, to have accountability buddies, because there will be some weeks we won't meet in class. You will meet that week with your accountability buddy. So the class will have weekly connection. Most of it will be healing protocols. Some of it will be accountability assignments and conversations, and the possibility for guest speakers if we want to bring in experts of some kind. So is there any questions to this point about that, anything that I've spoken to? Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. First of all, we're in a very different energy place. So because of the entire mission of identifying dominators and removing them and transforming the crippling to restore the entire energy field of life to divine home, we are in a place where we can call for healing in relationships in a very unique fashion, in a much more powerful, deep fashion than we have ever done before. So it's, some of these relationships, especially if it's a pathological relationship, I'll tell you right now, out there in the world, they would say to those kind of people, either get out safely, and even if you get out safely, assume that it's going to be years down the road before you are healthy enough to even think about another partner. I mean, it usually takes years. We're going to see what we can do in 3 months. Okay. So we're going to see how quickly can we heal our old wounds, traumas, our stories. How quickly can we align to Earth mission and purpose and where we are now and the power centers that are there for women and men? How quickly can we disentangle our part of pathological situations? How quickly can we get common message around just difficult relationships to free them to lift? How can we guard? Because some of us have children or grandchildren. So how do we guard? How do we teach those ones vulnerable in our care? Create, establish, expand that the consistent presence, that cocoon of not only safety, but sovereignty and celebrating life, so that we can begin to really sense ourselves gathering, not just the tribe here, in our Zoom circles, but watch that begin to expand out into the world in our work, in our play, etc. You see? And then, of course, how quickly and how joyously really can we build the elements of a stable, meaningful, sustaining life, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, while at the same time calling for and holding for the lifting of the other, whatever the other is, whether it's an individual, a situation at work, a disease, or just old family stuff, you see. So that's kind of how it's set up to be. Hello, Orlanta, we recorded this, so make sure you get the recording for the major part of it, because we're just overviewing. So is there any questions or any input before I ask you a question? Okay, so here's the question. And it can be, either from your experience or from what you are seeing around you. What seems to be issues that you're seeing in relationship of any kind? What are some of the sticking points or pain points of relationships around you? And just put those, put them into the chat. I'll do this periodically through the course, because our messages, the journey that we're on, will be a big part of that. You'll get the messages. I mean, somebody in the class will get here's a red flag. What do we do about it? And so, just think for a minute. What are some of the things that that you would hope to either get out of the class or have changed within the class, or that would want to see it changed for others? And then I'm just going to be quiet for about 3 or 4 minutes while you cascade it into the chat.
Sharon, when you say others, what do you mean? Like others in your household or others, friends, anyone?
Friends, yeah, anyone. Because you're out in the world in a way I'm not. Everyone's out in the world uniquely. And so it may be conversations you hear with your friends, or that you've heard in your family, or that you hear in conversations in your home or at your workplace. What are some of the things around that seems to say relationships are hard? This is an issue.
Okay. Because I know you said when the work we're doing is also going to free other women in the world from similar things. So
yeah, we are definitely making that, because we always make everybody surrogate. But yeah, that anything like, that you're noticing as a red flag or something that needs to be addressed, or something that seems to be pretty solidly still there. Okay. Okay. So what if we each read our own from the chat? Because the recorder won't necessarily have the, if I could do it that way, but let's just each read our own. We'll start with Avi. Read yours, and then Tara, read yours, and then Orlantha, and then Susie, and then me, and then Cinda. So whatever it is that you've put down, go for it, Avi.
Watching many friends who are powerful women slip into relationships with textbook narcissists. Women friends who are in relationships with men who are raised to be princelings, and the women taking on most of the labor, emotional and physical. Partners who are along for the ride, put in minimal effort to keep the household functioning and relationship flourishing. I guess that's like the one above, only worded differently. Insecure partners that act on this insecurity by being controlling, and people seeing red flags, acknowledging the red flags, but staying in an abusive relationship, and taking partners for granted.
Thanks, Avi. Tara.
Okay. Friends who stay in, I mean, some of this I think is repetitive of what she said, but
Okay.
friends who stay in verbally abusive relationships thinking they deserve it or that they will not be able to find someone else. Narcissistic relationships as well. Partners not appreciating or supporting the females with all they do and wish to do with their lives or dreams. Some females and males acting like they're the only one in the world and treating others crappy and gaslighting them. I guess it's also narcissistic. And lack of partner taking responsibility for his own happiness and blaming the wife.
Yeah. Orlantha, you got some in there?
Yes. I wish for relationships that are uplifting. And they are supportive towards each other in reaching their goals and their dreams in their respective lives. And for others, I was thinking of my daughters, that they know they deserve a man who respects them. And if they could, for once, see their mom in a long-term relationship, in a healthy long-term relationship.
Perfect.
I think that was it. Thank you.
Thanks. Susie.
Hi. From when I'm around a lot of my friends that are couples, and I just notice they don't listen, and that's something that they both say, like he or she doesn't listen to me, or they'll say it at the same time when we're all talking. There's lack of communication. One person's always giving and the other is taking. Thinks the giver loves it that way. I actually was told that by somebody I was with. Oh, you love it this way. You love being the giver and I'm the taker. And I was like, what?
Yeah, normalization. Partners who place total blame on you. Partners who discount you no matter how much you bring to the table. Not recognizing the red flags that says this person may be unhealthy or predatory. And partners who refuse to take responsibility and or action steps to address their own non-health. And that's mine. Cindy, you got any?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if this fits, but when I scanned the email real quickly, I thought, oh, I wonder. It seems like there are people in my life that I care for very deeply. One of them is my niece, my beloved niece, and she's newly married, and her husband, who is Persian, whose parents immigrated from Iran when they were little, so it was his grandparents that fled. He is experiencing panic attacks and anxiety to the point where he is almost incapable of getting out of bed. They were able to put him in full-time care, out care, and so he's going to be doing that. But the his sister is been diagnosed as bipolar. And I am screaming inside because I feel like I know the problem is ancestral trauma. And that is the reason why he feels the way he does, including his sister, because both of his parents were little when their families fled Iran and then came to the United States. And both of the parents pretend like nothing traumatic ever happened in their family. And yet the mother giving birth to these two beautiful children who are now in their 30s, late 30s, you know, they're struggling with shit that I think isn't theirs. And I just, and I don't think the help that they're getting, the professional help that they're getting, is recognizing that, or even knowing to ask the questions about it. And, you know, and I don't have the skill set. I mean, I could make something up on the spot, but I don't have the skill set to be able to support my niece, to support him, or be able to talk to him when he's under professional care, as an opportunity or a different or an additional form of healing.
You know, when you look over what we've said, we've kind of applied it to intimate personal relationships. But when you read those things, do you see that it could apply to your situation at work? It could apply with your situation with a disease. And it could apply, like Cinda says, with what's showing up in your life right now that is hidden genetic trauma, because genetic trauma is in there in all of those cases, guaranteed. It is absolutely there. And so this program can address all of that in a different way. Now, in Deep Roots, we required the participants, the peeps, to maintain their conventional therapy, whether that was a therapist, a counselor, an AA group, whatever they were in, to give them that kind of stability. You know, we didn't require of the peeps to do the work and learn the tools like we will be doing in this course. This is a learning course, an advanced learning course for both the participant and the TAG facilitators who will be doing long distance work, you see? So for example, let's say that you have a girlfriend and she's in a relationship or considering a relationship or wanting to get into a new relationship, any of that really. She can get into this course and she can learn things about relationship. She can learn things about herself. She can do some deep healing so she sees differently and acts differently. As she looks for the new partner, it can change who she's looking at and how she responds. Or if she's in a relationship, it will help her change how she sees it interacts here, that will impact the relationship, while the other is getting direct healing on him or her that maybe he wouldn't her be ready for 2 or 3 or 4 more years down the road, you see. Or like Cinda, if your niece got into the program, she would be the participant. She would be there as a participant in behalf of working with her and her husband, you see. And what they would be looking at is, and she could relate with him in ways that maybe normally you wouldn't, because he's probably right there wanting change too. But then they would be using the same concepts of what is it that he is bringing into the relationship that will be being worked on by TAG facilitators, but she also will have some of that same information to help stabilize and understand and change what's going on here as she learns and he has the deeper healing done on him. And that deeper healing is going to be all about the old trauma, genetic, et cetera, et cetera. So, and again, if it's, let's say it's a disease, the same thing. Somebody's going to be working on the disease. What is the message in the disease? What is that? What do we need to do about that? As the participant strengthens the commitment to her life, or the same thing with career. So that's how this is set up. And I'm kind of excited, to see because I know this is so important out there in the world. There's so many, even knowing the clues, even seeing the red flags, march forward into it, and then getting out of it is hell on earth and sometimes extremely dangerous. And what can we do to create a model that can make that environment, bring it more quickly into a different model of healing relationships or deepening relationships? So that's what we're going to be doing, you see. So I'm going to capture all that we've shared. I'm going to capture that because I want to make sure that those concerns are factored into the curriculum, okay, for the participants and for the TAG facilitators, because that's going to be what they need to know too. So does that bring up any questions? So those coming in as TAG facilitators are they are TAG 3 facilitators. That's their course. They'll be learning and applying. The participants, and the TAG, the cost for the TAG course is the same as it always has been. It's $650 for the 3 months. And a portion of that at the end of the course will be reimbursed to the TAG facilitator as a partial repayment of the work they did. So that it's kind of like an internship. So they get a little of that money back. Those who are participating, those who can pay full price will pay $650. Those who want to pay full price but make payments can make payments. The participants who want to be a part of this and can only afford donation, that's up their donation, whatever it is they choose. So that's how the payment schedule is set up. Okay. And the intention is that on Thursday nights at this time, this is when we will be doing the TAG participants. So those of you who want to participate, bringing your situation in, you'll be learning a lot too. It's almost like you're doing TAG 3 too, because you're going to be learning a lot. But the additional piece is you're going to be then focusing on the other, whatever the other is, so that somebody else directly will get being helped by the work. And we'll be doing, unless the class says Thursday at 3:30 is not a good time. It'll be Thursday 3:30 to 5. The TAG 3 group have yet to decide when they're going to be meeting, so that's an unknown factor at this point. Okay. Well, thank you for being here. We have now set the stage, energized the field. And then we'll see where we go. I'll send you the replay, share it with anyone that you might think is interested, and they're welcome to get a hold of me or ask questions in any way they want to also.
Thank you, Sharon.
Love you guys.
Thanks, Sharon.
Thank you.
Bye. Love you guys.
Good to see everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
It is good to see everyone, isn't it, Avi? Bye, everyone.
See ya.